One question I get surprisingly often has to do with playing the guitar without looking at it. People write to me all the time and they notice that in the IFR video course for guitar or in some of these tutorial videos, they say, I noticed sometimes you seem to be looking away or you're looking at the camera and you're still playing on the fretboard and you're moving around, you're playing chords. And so the question is always, number one, should I do that? Should I learn to play the guitar without looking at the fretboard? And number two, can you give me any tips? How can I start? How can I learn that? Because it's something I would like to be able to do. And so I decided to make a video so we can talk about this, because it's something that's obviously of interest to a lot of people and there's some confusion about it. First of all, I'm a huge advocate of playing without looking at the fretboard. I think it's fantastic. I think it's a wonderful practice that you're really going to enjoy. But full disclosure, I started out for many, many years. I played the guitar probably for 20 years, wrenching my head around, staring at the fretboard, very concerned, having to manage everything with my eyes. And at that time, if I had seen somebody else playing without looking at the fretboard, I would have felt that was, maybe even unattainable, like something I just would never be able to do. But it's super easy. I mean, it's really a simple thing, and it's a beautiful practice. It's very enjoyable. As far as the arguments for why we play without looking at the fretboard, the number one is just ergonomics. That, your body's already not really designed to play the guitar, and so that's already a challenge, just trying to play the guitar in a way that physically distributes the tension across your body in such a way that you're not overtaxing any one part of your body. All of that goes out the window if you're also trying to wrench your head around and stare down at the fretboard to observe play by play everything that's going on down here. So just in the interest of being able to enjoy your guitar for many, many years and play for many hours without any kind of fatigue or discomfort, and certainly without any kind of repetitive motion injury, that's the number one reason to, lift your head up, start looking forward, and stop worrying so much about what's going on down here. But it's more than that. Also, playing without looking at the fretboard is just a really beautiful experience, and I find it actually helps my concentration, because you don't realize when you're looking at something how much of your brain's energy you're spending on processing that visual input. You think it's helping you because you're using that to send your fingers where you want them to go. But meanwhile, you're falling behind on the chord changes, you don't have a lot of clarity about the harmony, you're not paying attention to what the other musicians are doing. There's a lot of other stuff that's hard for you to keep up with because so much of your brain is involved in this, in processing this visual stimulation that you're getting from your eyes. And the moment you just stop looking at that, the moment you close your eyes or just look away, you will immediately start to feel more control. You'll start to calm down. Your ideas will be better. You'll be more centered in the key of the music and in your musical ideas, and you'll be less anxious about, frets and strings and fingers and all this kind of thing. And I personally find that it also helps me to be much more connected with the music and the chords and the things that are going on around me, and especially what other musicians are playing. So those are kind of the two biggest arguments, but the third thing I would add to that is just it's a lot easier than you realize. And with IFR, you have the perfect opportunity because the IFR system doesn't require us to be dependent on the absolute names of the notes and what fret am I on and memorized patterns and all that, right? We're always picturing where we are relative to our tonal map, relative to the key of the music. We're thinking in that world of sounds, and we're just thinking from where I am, where is that sound, the next sound that I want to play, the sound I'm hearing in my mind, where must that be relative to where I am now? And on the guitar, we can even wrap chords around that. And the guitar, everything scales up perfectly anyway. Anything you do at one fret, you can do at any fret. And so what you'll find is if you just kind of let go of that safety blanket, if you just make the change and go back to practicing very, very simple exercises, but without looking, in no time at all, you'll get back to where you were when you were looking, and you'll go way past it. It's really easy to play without looking at the fretboard, and I actually think it gives me more clarity and more of a feeling of control over where I am and where I'm going. So let's get you started on this journey. I'm going to show you 3 simple exercises that you can do right now to begin practicing this new way of relating to your guitar. And depending on how far you've gone in the IFR method or in your harmony studies, you may not be able to take advantage of all 3, but I want to show you things you can do at kind of different levels of the method. But no matter how advanced you are, I would encourage everybody to start with the first one, because this is really where you're going to make the most valuable connections. And it goes back to the mobility exercise in half steps. This is what we cover in video number 2 of the IFR video course for guitar. And it's just this idea that if my index finger is here on this string, and I want to move down a half step to the next string, that movement is going to go from index to pinky, but only after displacing my hand by 1 fret. So this is the movement. And that's what it looks and feels like when I'm looking at the fretboard. And what we need to do is to just take this movement, think of almost like two tables, right? And you have all these things you know how to do on the table over here where you're looking at the guitar, and we need to start moving these things over to the other table. And there's a process there, because there are some interesting mental sort of optical illusions that happen where when you're not looking at the guitar, it can really surprise you how some of these things feel. So it's a new discovery process. And it's important to not get frustrated by that. You're not trying to reproduce exactly what it felt like over here. You're discovering something new for the first time. Just open your mind to it and think in your mind's eye as you're feeling around and figuring out exactly how to measure that displacement. What does that feel like? And like, where is the second note relative to the first note in this mental space, which may not correspond to what you think it should feel like based on what it looks like. I don't know if that makes any sense, but you'll experience it for yourself. And so what we want to do is you can if you don't want to just guess at it, you could put your pinky on the next lower string, right? I've got my index here and I've got my pinky here. I can feel that string, and then I can just sort of estimate what it feels like to go up 1 fret on that string. Again, going back, I can already feel the next string with my index. So I can put the tip of my index on that next string, and I can slide down a fret and I can get back there. And if I just go back and forth a few times, I can measure that distance, and I can feel exactly where these notes are, and I don't have to put my fingertips on the strings first. My whole arm knows what that displacement feels like of 1 fret. It's almost like a robotic arm, right? The fingers are just going pinky, index, pinky, index, pinky, index. But the arm intervenes, that before I go from my pinky to my index, my arm has slid me down a fret, so the index naturally falls there. That's something to discover. And if you already know the mobility technique across all the strings, then you've got the theoretical part already figured out. So just take some time. It's a very relaxing kind of exercise. You can even combine it with your freedom to move by half steps all around the fretboard, right? Right? And just do those mobility jumps every once in a while. It's a great thing to do in the morning. Whenever you want just a super relaxing, beautiful activity with the guitar that's really easy. It's not very mental. It's just feeling, moving, and gaining experience. This is a great thing to practice. What I hope you'll get from doing that for a few days is confidence. It's also the psychological journey of just learning that even when you make a mistake or you get lost, don't look at the fretboard. Don't solve the problem that way. Imagine, what if you were visually impaired? What if you couldn't look at the fretboard? You'd figure it out. So just have the courage and the patience to figure it out that way, and you'll build that confidence that much faster in this world of not looking. And once you are feeling that confidence, then the second exercise I want to propose to you is to build the tonal map and to start moving around the fretboard by the notes of the major scale. You can combine this with your 7 worlds practice if you want to imagine yourself in a particular harmonic environment. Eventually we're going to go back to working with the jam tracks, and this is how we're going to play the guitar for the rest of our lives. So there's no limit to what we can do. The question is, what do you need to do in the beginning to get your bearings and to build your confidence? And so I would just move around the fretboard in a very calm way by the notes of the major scale. If this is my 1, my 7's got to be there right under my index. If I can feel what it's like to slide down 2 frets, then I can move down to note 6, because that's a whole step. And I can go back up, 6, 7, 1, 1, 7, 6, whole step down to 5. That's got to be just on the next lower string at the fret where my pinky is already waiting to play. 5, 6, 7, I'll just slide up 1 fret. I'll play that 1 with my ring finger. Now I can get creative. From the 1, I want to move up to 2. That's note 2. That's a whole step. So I got to move up 2 frets on the same string. But I only have 1 finger left here. That's my pinky. But if I slide up a fret, now I can get my pinky on that 2. Come back down to 1, 7, 1, 2. That puts 3 up here. 2, 1, 7. It really is that slow. That's what I'm trying to show you. I'm not trying to show you how well I can do this or how fast I can play. It's just the opposite. I'm trying to show you how slowly and how calmly you should play in order to really discover how all these things fit together and how to find them in your mind's eye without looking at the fretboard. There's a lot of physical stuff because you're using your hand not only to play the notes but also to measure the distances. And so all the information is already there. You don't need to look at the fretboard to know exactly what frets you've got under your control right now. And from there, you can figure out if you need to leave that position to go somewhere else to play another note. You can figure out exactly what that displacement is. Am I moving up 1 fret? Am I moving up 2 frets? And through very calm practice, you can learn exactly what that 1 fret displacement feels like and what that 2 fret displacement feels like. And it's very rare that we absolutely need to do something bigger than that on the fretboard. It would only be if we're on, like, for example, the very highest string, so I can't go to another string, and I want to go up some huge interval, so I have to come up here. And maybe in that moment you do glance down at the fretboard. There are also exercises you can do to feel those large jumps, but I just think that's a distraction right now. All the power is in the most basic stuff that you need to do every day, the bread and butter movements. And so I would just encourage you to take all the time in the world to really study and contemplate and enjoy those. Then the third exercise that I want to propose, if you've already begun working with chords, is to take simple chord progressions from the major scale and practice playing those without looking. We can just walk through the 7 chords of the major scale. For example, if I build a 1 chord here, and if I know how to make a 2 chord, I mean, I could look down at my fretboard and go to note 2 and then build my 2 chord there, but can I just feel what the relationship is between that 2 and that 1? This is where all the power is. It's in the little building blocks. It's in getting these connectors clear and strong and effortless. You don't have to fly on to do all the rest of the chords that you know. What you have to do is really get confident with this movement from 1 to 2 so that it becomes something you can count on. And then 3. That's a really interesting movement, from 3 down to 2. That's kind of a tough movement, right? Because I've got to go from the way I'm playing this, my middle finger is on the low E string, kind of my hand is all like sort of twisted out of position, and from there I have to find my 3 up here. And so if that doesn't happen, you know, the first time you try to do it, if your hand lands somewhere else, you miss the strings, you're up too high, you're up too low, fantastic. That's the point. That's the point, is to calibrate that. Just be patient. Don't look at the fretboard. Don't cheat. Don't steer your fingers to the right place. Because again, all that's going to do is it's going to put you back in the visual world, the world of looking at the fretboard, and then you're going to be frustrated that you can't find the same movement the same way when you're not looking at it. I would encourage you to think that these are 2 totally different worlds. If you can find it looking, that's great, but it's irrelevant here. You've got to find it without looking, because in that world of your mind's eye, like I say, there are optical illusions, and it's not going to be where you think it is. And so you have to discover where it is in that world. And so if you're already playing chords on the guitar neck, then the third exercise that I would propose to you is to very calmly move through some of the chords you know how to play in a particular key, and start discovering what those displacements and movements feel like when you're not looking at the fretboard. So I hope these exercises really help you get off to a great start, and I hope you enjoy playing without looking at the fretboard as much as I do. If you have any questions about it, please contact me. I will help you personally. There are all kinds of resources out there for learning this skill. There are tons of exercises, but I think really the most important thing is just your attitude. If you get the attitude right, there's no reason why you can't be really enjoying this process tremendously right from the first day, and so I hope you have a lot of fun with that.